Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Prowess Live. Y'all know this is my favorite time of the week where we are bringing you just some of the most amazing, thoughtful change makers that I have met in my entrepreneurial journey and, quite frankly, life. And that is definitely who our guest is today. But before we get started, we always do our little, warm up question, right? So put into chat when you think of corporate leadership, corporate leadership, what are some of the words that come to mind? When I say corporate leadership and put into chat, what are some of the words that come to mind? So excited about this. Ew. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So when I was even thinking, I was like, man, it's like aggressive and close-minded and um stressed. Like that's all of the words that kept coming up, coming up to me over and over again. Corey. I was like, also nothing nice to say. Jenna, haha, I was thinking something similar. Toxic. Bingo. Why does it have to be this way? Why does it have to be this way? And again, that's why I'm so excited to bring up our guest. Before we do, hello, everyone. I'm Ashley Connell, CEO and founder of Prowess Project. What we do here at Prowess Project is we solve a huge problem that we saw in the market. There's a ton of quote unquote visionary CEOs who start businesses, but then they have no really, quite frankly, idea of how to operationalize it, how to run the businesses. And there's these amazing women out there, online business managers, who that is their bread and butter. That is their, Super Bowl is diving into technology and building out all the systems and efficiency. And you think in Excel spreadsheets. And so that's exactly what we do is we train our OBMs and then match them up with the visionary CEOs who need help desperately. Desperately. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. So I'm very excited to bring up our guest. Her name is Karen Falkler. Her and I met, gosh, probably years ago. And what I love about Karen, before we get into all of her brilliance, is met her once on it was probably like a partnership call or, networking call, something. And since then, she has, over the years, months, whatever, she has sent me several email, text messages that were just like, "Hey, how are you doing? This is hard. You're a business owner, you're a mom, you're a spouse, you're a partner, you're a friend, you're a blah, 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 blah. How you doing?" And I'm so glad that we're talking about leading with heart because she nails this on the head. She walks the walk, not just talks the talk, and I think that sometimes can be very rare in the coaching and consulting space. So with that, I'm going to bring up Karen. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. You're like legitimately making me blush over here. I was like, oh, she's just saying the nicest
It's true. It's so true. And again, like everything that you do and you share and you help people with, you live by it too. So before I keep talking in generalities, can you share what you do and then your background or how you got there?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for asking. And I think that we like one of the zillion reasons that we get along and that we are like in such alignment is that we both kind of do the same thing. We saw this problem and we said, I want to help. And for you, it's aligning these OBMs with these business owners who desperately need their help, and then you help them become successful. So for me, the work that I do is, I work with business owners and leaders who, are also in this place where they are looking for coaching or leadership development and support for their team or resources for their organization to reduce risk and save money and give people their life back. So it has, it's been amazing, and like how I ended up here, I was in the corporate world after college, and then I worked in physical therapy for 10 years. And then I came back to the corporate world because I really missed it. And I was like, wow, we spend our life at work and we are not well. And it does not have to be this way. Like, gosh, like, whoa. And then, to these comments about like, ew, in corporate leadership. And it's like, well, of course, if the leaders themselves don't feel well, then how on earth are they going to create a culture that thrives and is like incredibly successful? And then at the end of the workday can go home and really connect with their family. So I started my business because like I just love people and I want them to live. And I was like, well, let's just fix this.
Yeah, let's just fix this. This systemic problem. Let's just fix it. That's exactly how I felt.
So yeah,
Women should own their schedule. Let's just fix it.
100%. Well, it's like I like, there's people that look at the past and how that influences the present. There's people that look at the present and how that influences the future. And like, I feel like we're kind of all that way. And it's that like, well, okay, here's the problem, but like, here's where we're going. Like, let's just roll up our sleeves and make it happen. Let's have a real conversation about it. Let's love each other.
Well, yeah, so I love, like, even in the background, it says like wellness, meets advisory. And can you tell us, what does wellness mean to you?
I'm so glad you asked. So having worked in physical therapy and then watching the pandemic and mass casualty and loss, and having been, on the business side, on the clinician side, on the individual patient side, on the caregiver side, wellness is really, what does the rest of like today and your life look and feel like? And so for me, the wellness is really, it starts with physical wellness. Having worked in physical therapy and orthopedic and neurological rehab for about 10 years, it was, hey, the way that we sit and stand and breathe, these influence how and where we're going to live and age, how we're going to feel when we walk into the room, how that is going to influence our emotional intelligence, how it's going to influence the conversations that we have with ourselves, how we perceive and respond to all of reality, and then how our wellness influences our time and our energy in the present, as well as, again, the rest of our life. Because from the clinical perspective, every leader I know has pain, one of four kinds, and it's either physical, mental, communication and relationship based, or time based. So that's really what the wellness is. It's like, hey, how are these factors influencing your leadership effectiveness, essentially?
Oh man, and there's so many different places that I want to go here. So I'm going to just say them just so y'all know where I'm headed. But like, I'm just thinking about all of our online business managers, many who have just started their business or have a business or thinking about it. And first, like, I'm so curious because so many are leaving corporate because of all the toxicity. How do they shed off all of that and lead with heart and ensure they have wellness? And you can answer this one later, but this is where I'm headed. As the OBM, you are the right hand of your clients, your CEOs. So how do you look them in the mirror and be like, girl, you ain't well? Like we got to work on this. So anyway, that's where excited.
That was a lot of questions, so I'm going to try to like. So yes.
I know. I have so much to ask you, so I apologize. First question was OBM. They're starting their business. They're trying to shed the corporate nonsense.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, a lot of people, so many people are, and it's so funny because I was like just having this conversation yesterday with a client as we were talking about like the old generation versus the new generation, and like these iterations of ourself that we kind of go through, and the permissions that we give ourselves, and then like how that influences like the roles and the narratives and these new belief systems that we're creating for ourselves, and the narratives that we're creating for our children. So to the point of like, how do you leave a corporation? How do you leave this toxicity? First, you got to like go like wash it all off. And I'm literally, it's like sometimes you just like literally like brush up like, all right, like I'm not allowing that into this space of mine anymore. I had a good friend years ago who was an authentic Native American, and he worked with some really, um, we'll call them high maintenance individuals.
Okay.
And he would say, like, I go into this room and I put an invisible bubble up and I zip myself up and I don't allow that to like take my energy, and I don't allow it to influence my energy. And it's so true. It's like we give, especially like as women, but just as humans, like we long to connect with the people and the environment around us. And so we give and we give and we give. But it's so often at the expense of ourselves. And so, the first thing before we can help anybody else, it's like put your air mask on first. We've all heard that 100 million zillion times, but it's true, like if our bathtub is empty or completely overflowing, how on earth are we going to expect ourselves to present well in a work environment and think clearly and rationally and really, not only solve problems, but just get through the day?
Yeah, absolutely. So so what I'm hearing you say is actively and intentionally breaking that apart, like separating yourself from that toxicity and then building these boundaries and giving yourself permission to be like, that's your stuff,
Mhm.
not my stuff. I'm on a different path now.
Yeah.
It's different.
And so, one of the things that I personally do, and I ask all my clients to do, is start your day every day with the most important meeting of the day, and that's with yourself. And that's like, whether it's a couple minutes in front of the bathroom mirror to like, hey, how is my alignment? Am I physically holding stress somewhere today before my day even starts? Like, what does success look like today in this moment? Like, what's a realistic expectation for this day? But then, yeah, one of the things that I did for myself before I even started my business, but anywhere on the journey you can do this, and any day you can edit this list, is what are the promises that you want to make to yourself? What are your personal negotiables and non-negotiables? When I started my business, one of my promises to myself is like, I wrote a leadership philosophy and I was like, I will not be an effective leader if I don't take care of myself. I will not be any good at my business if I don't prioritize these things for myself. And then I said, well, other thing is I didn't start my business to be a bad mom. I'm a single mom. I have two little girls, and like their eyes are looking up to me. And that's one of the other huge reasons I started this, was to say, you can build this beautiful and incredible life for yourself where you can be your authentic self and send text messages to people that you love and you care about, and lead and live every day with love and your authentic purpose. Because that's really why I do this, is because I know that each and every leader has their own special soup, their human experience that makes them, this rare and unique and one and only singular individual in the world. And in order to like really be successful, we have to honor that day in and day out and keep those promises to ourselves, and recognize our own signs of overextension and say, if I'm getting fuzzy at the edges, or if I'm getting disorganized, or if I'm getting, irritable, or if I am just feeling, ugh, I need to really hit pause, hit stop, and say, well, what needs to change?
Oh my gosh, I love that, and especially first thing in the morning. I think that just reflecting on my own life, that would be such a good starter moment. So I end my day with gratitude, or try to, as nice as possible. Definitely not perfect, but I really love setting an intention in the morning, especially if you're trying to shed some feelings, thoughts, beliefs that no longer serve you. Oh,
100%.
so good. So then, shift. I love this because this is all about, how you help yourself get there. Now going back to the second part of my question on how would the online business manager help their clients first if they are seeing signs of misalignment? Misalignment? I think that's the word. And then like, how do you invite them to have a safe space or just talk about it? Like, how do you recommend that?
So when I am establishing a relationship, and I think I hope that I said it because I feel like it's almost on autopilot now. When I get into a Zoom session with anybody, I usually say, this is a truly safe and objective space. Anything that you think, say, want, or feel, you don't have to apologize for, as long as it's not inappropriate and directed at me. And that's how, we always want to establish these environments of trust and support. And when we make those promises to ourselves, those expectations start right at the beginning. Like, this is, when we're setting our expectations for our clients, this is what success looks like. This is what your goals look like. This is what failure looks like, and why. And like, this is something that will cause us to sever our relationship. And that's if you're untruthful, or if you're, like, if you're not going to keep these promises and these expectations, like, I can only help you be as successful as you're willing to help yourself be successful. Like,
Yes. Yes,
because like, our job is to honor ourselves. And that's why I say, like, strong leaders live and they show others how to do the same. And so the more authentic that we are to ourselves, we give others that permission, because, unfortunately for many of these leaders, because of these generational beliefs and these narratives and things that are going on, and all the things that are weighing on them that they're coming to you for help for, it's like they can't see the forest for the trees.
That. And this leads me to my next question. So oftentimes online business managers, like, they are deep helpers, and that's why we love them. They just, like, all of you who are listening want to help, want to achieve, want all of this. And then there quickly becomes a fine line between wanting to help you achieve in your business working with your client and being their coach or therapist or, wellness advisor, when that's not your role. So, Karen, do you have any tips for them to say in a kind way, hey, look, you may need some help by someone else? Oh, and by the way, I know a great woman who focuses on this. Her name is Karen Falkler. But so that all of the emotional baggage and like just head trash that is in the CEO's head doesn't just fall onto the OBMs.
Yes. And do you mind if I get my whiteboard? I'll like roll it
Ooh,
over.
girl, I love a good whiteboard. Yes, get in here.
All right. So one of the things that I do with my clients, and I do this for myself, like, please know I am not perfect. And like, I am the first one to say, look, I'm just as human as you and everybody else. Like, we're all guilty of this. So something that I do, and this helps me with tasks, I do it with my clients. I do it with my leadership development students. I do it with my grad students. So I say, all right, so we're going to make a list of our role, and so this is what I do. And these are the most important things. Like, you want me to do this, 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 and this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, you can do this for your personal life and your professional life if you're trying to find a little bit more balance. Ugh. Now, this is the percentage of time. And this is the value. So, dear so-and-so client, this is my role. I am happy to sit here and listen to you. But I want you to understand that these things here are not going to get done. It may be worth, considering, adding that to your budget. Or let's find a way. If you want to allocate a percentage of my time, then we're going to have to take something here
I love that so much for multiple reasons, and I think if an OBM is sharing this with a CEO or a client, they will think similar to what I'm about to say. First, it is structured. You're giving like very structured feedback. It is data based. And the way that you just said that, Karen, was so compassionate, but it was also thinking about the bottom line of the business. Hey, you're paying me to listen to something, like listen to your problems or whatever it is. And I'm not trained for that, nor that is that why you hired me. And I just said that much less
on
eloquently than you did. Um, so use
off.
what Karen said.
Like we have, generally people like one of the things that I talk about and I teach and I even teach this to all of my students and things is like most people are either task oriented or people oriented. Most people are either introverted or extroverted. And most people right now are super, super overextended. And so we are meeting most people in a chronic state of fight or flight. And so every conversation has to be compassionate because realistically, the probability that you are meeting someone not in rational thinking, not in logical thinking, but in primitive behavior, especially again, if they're overwhelmed and they're coming to you to make their life better, it's we're gonna spell this out in X's and O's for you.
Yeah.
Let's just make this easy and let's make sure that what you really need to get done and yes, everybody I think needs somebody to talk to, because otherwise what do? They go home and they dump it on their significant other, or they dump it on their kids, or they go find an unhealthy coping mechanism. And for that reason, that's why coaching is growing at the rate that it is. And it's the number one reason that I incorporate wellness into my work is because, hey, I recognize like at the point where you can't physically show up, like if you're in fight or flight mode, hey, we can fix that. There's some really simple stuff we can do with breathing and posture and alignment to get you out of pain so that you can see clearly and think clearly. And then you can say, okay, well, today this is the high value one. Tomorrow, it's like the glass balls and the plastic balls that you're juggling on that, thing. It's like, okay, this week this is priority. Next week this is the one. And it allows us to like just make sense of it all and
Y'all,
enjoy it.
if you have a visual client, I think that this is going to be such a value giving to them. Like my brain just went to like all the different spots within prowess that I would love to bring this to within my life, sitting down with my partner and being like, hey, how are you feeling about just life in general and your roles and what the percentages are and what you're getting to and what you're not getting to.
Mhm.
And gosh, man, I sound like such a fangirl. So whatever, I'm gonna lean in. I love this because it is reiterating the fact that we are not this professional being and then personal being. We are one being. And I am learning this so deeply right now.
Girl, I hear you.
Yeah.
And like, and that's just it. It's just like it's just life. And we spend so much of it working and that too, like when it comes to the wellness, and I was thinking about the financial impact of it, it's like, well, if you don't feel good, you're gonna miss work, you're gonna be out longer. If you do get sick, you're down more time. And that's time like we're not connecting with our kids. We're not doing the things that really make life worth living because you and I both know we're business owners. We need money. Money makes the world go round,
Mhm.
but it's not everything.
No. No.
Very little is needed for a happy life. And when we lose the ability to physically get up and do with our family, or physically pull ourselves up and out of bed, or physically walk out the door to get the sunshine and fresh air, that's it. And it's not about what's down the road tomorrow. It's like, how can I make the most of today? Because tomorrow is guaranteed to nobody,
It's so true. So
you
true.
know? And
Uh,
it's like, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, this is just like I said, this is so applicable to me right now. So my husband for the longest time has been like, Ashley, we just need like some, help around the house. Like
Mhm.
we just need some. And I've been so like, no, do we really like, and then finally we got a little bit of help around the house and I adore her. But what she has given me and what I told her that money cannot money cannot show the value in this is finally the first time in my daughter's 3 years of life am I able to play with her at night. Because before I was cooking, I was doing the cleaning, I was doing the preparation for the next day. I was, and she always saw this busy mom who was in the kitchen. And I realized that that was the wellness part of my life that I needed to fix.
We all do it. And I will admit, like, so I just had I've been in business 3 4 years, like, hallelujah. um, but it was, year one was, let me see if I can survive. Is this actually a thing? Last year was drinking from the fire hose. And the only promises that I broke last year were to myself and to my children.
It's amazing.
And so that was like, as I was looking into 2024, I said, that is my non-negotiable. Is like, I am not going to break these promises to myself. I am not going to break these promises to my children. Because like that, that is my job number one, because
Yeah.
it's so easy to, again, like, just get like, you work with helpers, you work with empaths, like we want to. And it's like, I'm a crazy Gemini. So I'm like a little bit like, I'm everything and I'm nothing, like, but it's like, in the grand scheme of things, like, do I want to save the whole world? 100% yes. 100%. Like, I love everybody and I want them to live. But the people who need me the most in this world are myself and my inner child, so that I'm right to raise these two women to become strong, independent women who are healthy and normal and successful and can function, but they can define for themselves what success is, not by what society says this is what success is. So
Oh,
know myself so that they can learn to know themselves.
yeah. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And so you said first year was drinking from the fire hose. Second, no, no, first year was, hey, is this a thing?
Mm.
Second year was drinking from the fire hose. Third year was focusing on yourself and your children. What's fifth or fourth year look like?
Well, so I'm so glad you asked. And this is actually, like, you were wondering, like, how do we really meet? So we were introduced because this year was really kind of like, okay, how do I help people more effectively? How do I scale and grow my
Right.
business? And so, like, the kind of the entire second half, because like I never thought I'd be a business owner. I was just like, man, like, no one's talking about this the way that I talk about it, and I'd like to help these people. And so I really took a big step back this year to kind of clean up my own organization in the business. And so, like, this year we outsourced accounting, we outsourced, our cybersecurity, we outsourced, some of the admin and marketing functions, so that I can spend more time doing the work and delivering. So it's like, so I do coaching, training, and speaking. I am excited to say, like, we're adding some additional coaches. We're adding some, we have over the last few years helped people get some CEUs and credits for education and learning in both the HR and financial aspect, as well as insurance, because we talk a lot about risk and lives and things like that. And so for the business, it's just kind of continuing to organically and strategically grow in alignment and purpose, and to continue to try to do the best we can to make the world a better place, because that's really
Yeah. No, no need to laugh about that. Like that is huge. That's the reason. I love it. And may I just say, like, for being, on your third year, like you've made massive strides. Like that is, I just want you to know that that is truly, 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 truly impressive.
Thank you very much. I attribute it entirely to love and an incredible network of beautiful people. Like, we genuinely are so much stronger together. And it's like, no matter how hard it is, no matter how tired it like I am, like I know when I need to rest, but it's like the steps continue to be shown. And it's like I was put here to do this work. And the fact that I get to wake up and do it every day is like, it brings me so much joy. I could like honestly cry and be like a total girl about it.
Hey, you're in good company. You're in great company. No, I love it. And you're right. That's how you know you're in alignment. And I'm sure that there are so many online business managers who are listening right now who are like, yeah, I didn't expect to be a business owner. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, but I needed more out of my current life. I hate this word, but for lack of better terms, like the balance of time for family, time for hobbies, time for health, time for blah, 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 all the things. And it's hard. It is. It's
It
very,
is. I'm glad you said that because I want to make sure that we take a second to talk about giving your OBMs and all the people who are watching time. So there's something super simple. You asked me before if there was something I wanted to go over, and there is something I'd like to show your everybody. And that is, so having worked in PT for 10 years, this isn't medical advice, it's food for thought for all the people and who are trying to do it all with only so much time and energy. But the way we sit and stand really does have a profound influence on how and where we live and age. And so, for everybody, most of us don't necessarily think about this, but most people sit kind of slouched down, forward head, rounded shoulders.
mm-hmm.
So there's something super simple that anybody can do from anywhere. And again, this isn't medical advice, but if you just slide forward in your chair until you sit on the bony part of your behind and kind of think about lifting your shoulder blades back and down, pressing the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. What this actually does is it puts us into a position to, reduce stress and tension in our shoulders. Because I'm gonna just go ahead and start stripping down here. Ooh, I really did. You gotta love how real we are. But I don't know if we did this with so most of us sit with kind of this forward head and rounded shoulders. And what that does is it actually puts people at increased risk for back injuries, shoulder injuries, sleep apnea, chronic disease, and it decreases our ability to absorb nutrients from our food because it compresses our GI system and our organs. So something super simple, just by getting the feet flat on the floor and kind of sitting on the bony part of your behind, getting the shoulder blades back and down, it can help us to put ourselves into a position that has better alignment, but it also puts our rib cage into a position of better alignment. So during the pandemic, I was watching this mass casualty and like having lost my parents, when they were 62 and 64 years old, I was like, I just want people to be here. This helps people to keep their lungs strong, helps people to regulate autonomic nervous system, reduce risk for sleep apnea too, because when we slouch, it tends to make people's mouth fall open. And when we breathe through our mouth, it also increases our risk for getting things like COVID and sick. But then because you're not filtering things through your nose. So again, this is going to help people stay at work, but also if heaven forbid you go into the hospital, it also increases length of stay. And so all of this is part of that physical wellness and reason why I'm like, hey, your posture is going to have a huge impact on your life and your earning income. And two, where do people spend their money in retirement? Medical bills.
Oh, so true.
So, but it also, because it reduces your risk for shoulder injuries and back injuries, helps you reduce your risk for needing medications, helps you reduce your risk for all the addiction that is associated with medication and all the side effects that come with medications, like slips, trips, and falls. And so something so simple is something that I'm like, hey, like, I just want to get the word out about that. But I mean, there are other things too, and we can, certainly go over them another time. But I was like, ooh, while we're here, like, because people, what do we do at work? We sit. What do we do at home? We sit.
Oh man, that is such like a great easy thing. I was just thinking like I'm going to put this in my phone to remind me like 3 times a day to like sit straight.
Yeah. And like, because I'm a thrifty mama, I'm like, hey, you want an even simpler solution?
Yes, you do.
I'm all about the move around. I can't sit still. Is you can just take like a little post-it note
Yeah.
and stick it on the top of your computer and use it as a visual cue. And every time you look at it, be like, oh, how's my posture? Oh, let me breathe through my nose. It'll help me lower my blood pressure and heart rate. So nice deep breath through your nose, keep your lungs strong coming into cold and flu season. Change the color post-it once a week or every couple
Oh,
days when you stop noticing it. And just let that be a super simple way to enhance the length and quality of your life on the spot. Because every one of us has marathon muscles and sprint muscles in our body. Every one of us is meant to be stacked from the ground to the sky, like the buildings that we live in and work in. And so when we're in this proper, better posture, our joints move better, our muscles work better, our nerves and our nervous system work better. That helps life just feel better. And again, it's also going to conserve energy. So for everyone that's feeling tired, it's because you may not have great oxygen perforation. It's because you may be using extra energy because your muscles are hanging and sagging instead of just being where they belong.
oh man, I'm gonna be thinking about this all day. Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, it's free.
Yeah.
You don't need a tool. Like, yes, I want to go to the gym and do some strength training, keep your brain, strong and what have you. But really, it's like, it's so simple. It's so simple, it's scary. And that's the thing, is I'm just like, oh, if we can just help people understand this, we can save lives.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, we have had so many online business managers join our community this past year, and we're seeing so many of them wanting to, well, they're pivoting into being an online business manager because they want to work for clients like you who are taking their passion and helping people. And so my question to you, for coaches and consultants like yourself, what are some of the operations challenges or opportunities or things you want to overcome in your third, fourth year that just can help our OBMs be like, okay, this is the type of person that I want to help. Maybe these are the type of things they need help with.
So I'm sure that it's different for everybody.
Of course.
So again, I'll just throw myself right under the bus and say, like, my personal overextension is disorganization. I tell everybody that. I tell my clients that. I'm like, hey, look, if you see me overextended, like, because again, it kind of gives people permission to be human too. And they're like, oh yeah, now I'm like, or I can see it in her. Am I overextended too? But so the things that I really struggled with, and am still working the kinks out, candidly,
Yeah.
are like leads and follow-ups, and I did not have any sort of data analytics at first. And so like as I've been working on like the next iteration of my business and trying to scale some of this, it's like now I'm trying to like essentially year three, like I don't have hardly any of the data on where did these people come from, how did that happen, like what are there just wasn't really a great system. And so like as I'm putting systems and processes and CRM into this, and logging how many people I talk to a day, even if it's just hey hello, like. And so for me, for the business, it was, how do I take what's in my head, and protect my business, grow my business, and make my business profitable? Because again, I just want to help people and give away my time. Can't do it. There's only so much. um,
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yep. Can confirm. Yep. Been there, done that. Amazing. And just so you know, we ask clients like this or people just like you all the time. And that is what I hear the most often is right at the point that you're at. And so I share this with you, but then I also share with all the OBMs. It is the understanding the data and making smarter decisions,
Mhm.
and um ha- and having that person who loves that stuff. Because I think that was a huge shift for me when I was learning to delegate, was just because I didn't like the work doesn't mean that someone else doesn't like the work. But I always felt bad giving it to them because I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, well, I wouldn't want to do that." So I kind of feel bad. But
Mhm.
really, I mean, the big unlock for me at Prowess was there's so many people who are so
Mhm.
compatible. So
Oh, yeah.
anyway, share that with all of you.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, and
go
I
ahead.
think that that also speaks to your point about asking for help and allowing help. You know, for a lot of business owner, like letting go of a lot of stuff is really hard. So I was like, you don't understand who I am and what my voice is and how I want it to be. And it's like, I know I want to be true to me. And so like I really struggled with some of that. And here I am over here, like delegate to all my, like but telling my clients in full, hey, I'm struggling with that at times too. And so like I know that with my marketing team, like as we were kind of trying to just grow some of the graphic design, because I was like, it's in my head, but we couldn't, like I couldn't get it onto paper. And then when it was, oh, it was just, and so I guess too, having patience with business owners and consultants and coaches, and recognizing that, yeah, we are, I don't know, we're all doing the best we can with what we have.
So true. So true. So true. Karen, thank you so much. I cannot, this 45 minutes flew. I obviously could talk to you for ages. How can people follow you, get ahead of, or get a hold of you, get
Sure.
more of you, all of the things?
So I have so much fun on my personal LinkedIn page. I post there probably the most professionally. Now you also know, like I just love people, and so if you want to know more about me personally, my Instagram has kind of been my personal diary for the last 3.5 years. So it's like my weightlifting, my kids, like my personal life. So my LinkedIn is just Karen Falkler, Falkler on LinkedIn. My Instagram is just my name, Karen Falkler. And then if you have questions about, or you want coaching for any of your clients' leadership thing, you're welcome to send them to my website, which is falkleradvisory.com, or they can email admin@falkleradvisory.com. Thank you so much for having me, for being my friend, for being you.
Yes. Oh, right back at you. Right back at you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all, we will have all of these links in the show notes and on YouTube and all of that. So if you didn't quite catch it, have no fear. They're in the comments. Um, Thank you, thank you, thank you, Karen. It was wonderful. I learned so much, and quite frankly, just it was a really great reminder to take a step back and be like, is this in alignment? And it, a great reminder of not to sacrifice wellness for something that you don't even really want, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, I think that like as a creature that has long struggled with patience, I think that practicing the pause has been one of the best things, because it's like pause before I speak, pause before I do, pause before I go, and it's just like, and two, it's like my own little mini mental. It's like, and so not only thank you to you, but thank you to all of our viewers and watchers, and just like anybody who's here and has shared time with us today. And I
Yes,
appreciate you and your
absolutely.
everything that you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, y'all. We will be back next week. And oh, just so excited. Thank you again, Karen. And I will see y'all Wednesday, 1 p.m. Central.
Awesome. Bye, y'all.
Bye.